Angel Reese called herself the Michael Jordan of the WNBA. That actually happened. She said that out loud. And then Lisa Leslie, 3-time All-Star, 2-time champion, and the actual blueprint for dominant big women in this league, sat down on Reese's own podcast and destroyed her on live TV. Straight to her face. Period. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark was being named one of the most powerful women in sports by Forbes, and dragging the entire league into a billion-dollar media deal. So let's talk about the gap between moving the needle and just making noise. Who do you think is moving the needle, Clark or Reese? Let me know down in the comments below. I don't know what the big deal is about the fact that Caitlin is getting a lot of love. She deserves that, and she's helped change this game just as a lot of other players have. But it is what it is, and I think that we are all benefiting from the effects that she's had on the game, and I just appreciate the way she shows up. Picture this. You're Angel Reese, 2 seasons in, and you decide the right move is to compare yourself to Michael Jordan. Not LeBron, not Shaq, not even someone still playing. Michael Jordan, 6 rings, 51% from the field for his entire career. That Michael Jordan. So here's the thing about Reese. She's been building something off the court. The Reebok deal, the podcast, the social presence, the live shows. She's clearly trying to be bigger than basketball. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that as a goal. Plenty of athletes build brands. The problem is when the brand says one thing, and the shot chart says something completely different. But she literally got called out for missing layups. I mean, on her own show. Because while she's out here invoking the GOAT, her Chicago Sky fell from top-tier attendance all the way down to bottom 5 in the league. Not middle of the pack, bottom 5. And they've missed the playoffs every single season since she joined the team. And then there's the layup thing. Her field goal percentage near the rim sits somewhere between 39 and 44%, depending on the game. Her rookie season overall field goal percentage was 39.1%. It's just a fact. She is not good at layups. But I was looking at her stats, so I jotted some down right here. She shoots an abysmal 39% from the field. She shot below 50% on shots less than 5 feet away, which is bad. And even worse than that are shots from 5 to 9 feet, 13%. Let's be real clear about what 39% at the rim actually means. That's not a slump. A slump is temporary. That's a structural problem. That means more than half the time she gets to the spot on the floor, where finishing is supposed to be automatic, she's coming up empty. Announcers literally laughed on live broadcasts. Not exaggerating. There's footage of a commentator audibly chuckling after one of her misses. The clips went viral. The memes came fast. And then she went on TV talking about her salary, saying she doesn't get paid what she deserves. And look, WNBA salaries are genuinely low across the board, and that conversation is real and worth having. But you can't make the Jordan comparison, and then point to your paycheck as proof the league undervalues you. Not when anyone can pull up the shot chart and see exactly what the market is responding to. This is like the WNBA leveling up and all eyes on her. Now I think she knows that she has to completely restructure her form, because that is not the way to be efficient in the post position that she is in. At the post position she's in, a layup is supposed to be a given. She needs to improve her touch around the rim all over the place, but she seems to take these desperation shots. Here's where it gets interesting with the brand stuff too. Reebok signed her on potential and charisma. That's the whole foundation. Meanwhile, Nike built Caitlin Clark's deal around ratings, ticket sales, and revenue you can actually measure. One of those deals has numbers behind it. The other one is basically a bet that the vibe holds long enough to matter. And Reese herself said it. She went on her own podcast and said, "I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too." Jordan shot 51% from the field. Reese is at 39% on layups. Those two things don't belong in the same conversation, and a 66-year-old legend decided to say exactly that right to her face. This is a hoops game where she literally needs to put up like 300 shots a day. And I'm not kidding. like 200 or 300 shots a day. Missed layups. She's 6 feet 3 inches or 6 feet 4 inches, and can't hit a layup to save her life. Literal videos have gone mega viral of her missing layups in games. Here's where it gets interesting. Lisa Leslie didn't go on ESPN to talk about Angel Reese. She didn't do a separate interview. She went on Reese's own podcast, Unapologetically Angel, Reese's House, Reese's Microphone, and still said it. So let's talk about who Lisa Leslie actually is, because this matters. 2 WNBA championships, 3 MVP awards, and 4 Olympic gold medals. She's not some commentator guessing about post-play and even joked about the rebounds. The fact that you be snatching that ball from girls, I'll be cracking up. Like she got another one. I love the fact that you are putting so much pressure on them defensively. So this wasn't a takedown. It was a full coaching session that just happened to be recorded and published for thousands of people to hear. And Lisa Leslie is completely on the money here. But let's be honest about why the layup part hit the way it did. The clips were already viral before Leslie said a word. The memes were already running. Announcers were already laughing on live broadcasts. Leslie didn't create the story. She just walked in and gave it an official cosign from someone whose opinion nobody in basketball can dismiss. That's what real mentorship actually looks like. Not the version where someone pats you on the head and tells you you're doing great. The version where someone who genuinely knows what they're talking about sits down and tells you exactly what needs to change. Even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's your own show. We have to understand that when one player eats, we all eat. And as we all get more opportunities, it just opens it up for everyone else. And I think Caitlin has said that even herself in certain interviews, and I love that. I love that she's not the player who's like, it's all about her. It's not. She's giving love and homage to those of us that have come before her. She shares the wealth with her teammates, and she doesn't have to do that. So again, I don't know what the big deal is about the fact that Caitlin is getting a lot of love. She deserves that, and she's helped change this game. The WNBA just locked in an 11-year media deal worth $2 billion. Not $1 billion, $2. $2 billion. And the timing is not a coincidence. Before Clark showed up, the league was fighting to stay relevant. Teams were scrapping for decent TV slots. Attendance was soft in a lot of markets, and the business conversation was mostly about keeping the lights on. The league was literally selling equity in 2022 just to maintain operations. That's where things stood. Then Clark's rookie season happened. Indiana Fever games stopped being something you might catch if you had time. They became must-see, clear your schedule, tell your group chat television. The Fever went from third to last in league attendance to number 1 in the entire league, and then stayed there for a second straight season. So when people say the league was already trending upward before Clark, sure, fine. But the Fever didn't trend upward. They jumped from the basement to the penthouse in one season. That's not a trend. That's an earthquake. Angel Reese says WNBA players could go on strike over salary and benefits. And look, the salary conversation is real. But one analyst said it bluntly. Every WNBA player better hope Caitlin Clark stays healthy, because she's helping keep the entire league afloat. Here's where the numbers get interesting. 22 of Clark's games cleared 1 million viewers across ABC, ESPN, CBS, and NBA TV. Her games alone accounted for 26.5% of the league's total economic activity during her rookie year. The league averaged 657,000 viewers per game in 2024, and a massive chunk of that number has Clark's fingerprints all over it. TV executives saw all of this happening in real time, and they started bidding. Disney, Amazon, NBC Universal, all of them. Because when one player changes what a broadcast slot is worth, networks pay for it. And it's not just the TV deal. Forbes put Clark at number 4 on the 2025 list of the most powerful women in sports. She's 23. She's got an 8-year $28 million deal with Nike, a signature shoe coming, deals with Gatorade and Wilson, and she's showing up at LPG. An event pulling in fans, who have never watched a WNBA game in their lives. Jersey sales, social media growth, packed arenas. Every single metric pointed the same direction, and sponsors noticed fast. She's a competitor. She's a trash talker. She makes players around her better. She's exciting to watch. I've missed seeing her at Unrivaled. I wish she were there. I miss seeing her play. So I really look forward to seeing her back out there. But honestly, all of the WNBA players, we're watching a very exciting level of basketball. So the $2 billion media deal isn't some gift the league stumbled into. It's the market putting a hard number on what Clark actually built. Networks don't hand out deals like that on vibes. They do it because the ratings are real, the ticket sales are real, and the revenue is real. And Lisa Leslie said it plainly. When one player eats, we all eat. She wasn't being poetic. She was describing a straightforward economic chain reaction. Clark's visibility pulls in money. That money flows into bigger deals and better contracts for every player in the league. The whole WNBA is eating better right now because of one player. Meanwhile, someone else was busy calling herself Michael Jordan. But Leslie didn't stop at the layup conversation. Right after she told Reese that her finishing needed work, she turned around and talked about Caitlin Clark. And she didn't soften a single word. I think it's all about money and marketing. I'm not going to act like it's something we don't see. She's had a huge effect, the Caitlin Clark effect. Have we ever had teams move into larger arenas to play against one team? No, we have not. So if we have more eyeballs on the game and Caitlin Clark brings that, why would we feel some kind of way because she has more television games? Here's the interesting part. Leslie said Clark deserves all of it. The attention, the endorsements, the hype, because she's changing the game. And she said that on Reese's own podcast. Not on ESPN. Not in a separate interview. In Reese's house. On Reese's microphone. With Reese sitting right there. And that matters. Because there's been a big conversation in this league about whether Clark gets too much attention. Whether the coverage is fair. Whether veterans are getting pushed aside. Some of that frustration is understandable. Players who've been grinding in this league for years, suddenly watching a rookie arrive with $1 billion spotlight behind her, that's a real emotion. But Leslie walked straight through that debate and said, "No. This is right. She deserves it. Listen, Caitlin, I'm so thankful for her. I'm thankful for all of these women and where this game is. And we have to step back and see the big picture and how it's impacting all of us." Leslie also pointed out that Clark respects the league's history. She doesn't act like she invented women's basketball. And Leslie contrasted that with players who do act that way. She didn't say any names. She didn't have to. So you've got Leslie on one side praising Clark for humility, production, and actually moving the league forward. And in the same conversation telling Reese her layups are broken. Those two ideas were sitting right next to each other in the same episode. That wasn't an accident. Because what Leslie was really saying was simple. Caitlin Clark's Nike deal is 8 years, $28 million, with a signature shoe coming. That deal exists because the numbers are real. The ratings, the ticket sales, the merchandise. Angel Reese's Reebok deal is built on a different kind of bet. And her signature shoe launch didn't exactly set the market on fire. The market responds to production. It always does. And the "when one player eats, we all eat" line that Lisa Leslie kept coming back to. That's not just a feel-good phrase. That's a business argument. Leslie is saying Clark's commercial success sends money downstream to every player in the league. Better contracts, better visibility, and better endorsement deals across the board. So fighting Clark's rise isn't some principled stand. It's literally fighting your own paycheck. Leslie looked at both situations and drew a clear line between them. Here's the model that works, and here's the gap that still exists. And she did it all on one podcast episode. You've got to go out there and prove yourselves. And listen, are we going to get upset about 5, 6, or 10 fewer games on television or not? I don't think we should. We have access to find these games now in a way that we never had before. And we have to appreciate that, and all these platforms that support the W. Now let's talk about what's actually being built in Indiana right now, because this part doesn't get nearly enough attention. Clark is the engine, everyone knows that. But the Indiana Fever aren't a one-player team anymore, and they haven't been for a while. Lexi Hull is developing into a real two-way piece. Tough, smart, the kind of player who makes the team harder to guard because she does the dirty work without needing the spotlight. Clark herself talks about making sure Hull gets good looks, celebrating her shots, and pulling for her teammates. And that's not just nice locker room talk. Clark said the team chemistry alone is worth 10 to 12 points a game. That's not nothing. That's a real number with real consequences on the scoreboard. The growth of the league has been so much. I mean, can you just help us understand the transition this league is going through right now? It's incredible. I remember my first WNBA game when I was a young girl. I went to watch the Minnesota Lynx when they had their dynasty with Maya Moore, and they were playing the Seattle Storm. And now basically any arena you go to, it's sold out. We're adding 2 teams. We're up to 14 now, and hopefully getting to 18 in the next couple of years. Business is booming, and that's a really good thing. Then there's Aliyah Boston, a legitimate post presence who can actually finish around the rim. Which, after everything we talked about earlier, feels worth saying slowly. She finishes at the rim consistently. It's not complicated, but apparently it's rarer than it should be. Kelsey Mitchell can get her own shot anytime. She doesn't need Clark to create everything for her. Sophie Cunningham brings a physical toughness that changes how opponents have to play the game. So this roster has real depth, real chemistry, and a clear identity that goes beyond one player carrying everyone else. Here's where it gets interesting though. For a while, the knock on the Fever was that Clark carried too much of the load. When she wasn't at her best, the whole offense slowed down. That criticism was fair. But the pieces around her kept developing. And chemistry compounds over time. The team Clark described, where they pull for each other, celebrate each other, and stay connected through the tough stretches. That's the kind of thing that shows up in fourth quarters and playoff games. And Clark herself is still getting better. She came into the league as the best passer in women's basketball, and she keeps adding layers. The shot making, the scoring, and the ability to read a defense and punish it 3 different ways. She's not done growing yet. That's a genuinely terrifying thought for every other team in the WNBA. Meanwhile, Fever home games are still the hottest ticket in the league. The arena is loud, the fans show up ready, and Clark keeps giving them moments that end up on highlight reels and morning shows the next day. That's appointment television. That's exactly what the league packaged and sold to networks for that $2 billion media deal. Over in Chicago, it's a completely different story with the Chicago Sky. Roster instability. Internal tensions. A star whose brand keeps moving faster than her production. And attendance is heading in the wrong direction. Reese publicly criticized teammates and pushed for roster changes. And the result was a locker room that some sources described as divided and toxic. Clark, meanwhile, didn't campaign for the spotlight. She just kept producing until the spotlight had no choice. A $2 billion media deal doesn't happen because someone made noise. It happens because the numbers are real, and the networks can see them. Lisa Leslie has watched every era of this league. She knows what real impact looks like. And when she looked at Clark, she said, "Yes. This is exactly what it's supposed to look like." Then she sat down on Reese's own podcast and told her the layups are broken. That's the whole story right there. Production versus persona. One moves the needle. The other just makes noise. So what do you think? Thinking face, who's really moving the needle right now? Clark or Reese? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. White down pointing backhand index, and don't forget to like thumbs up sign, subscribe bell, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next video. Click the video on the screen, and I'll see you in the next one. Movie camera, basketball and hoop.